guaranteed.
Welcome back. Well, in his first address since Labor's thumping victory, the PM has vowed to improve productivity while being cautious not to build up expectations. Anthony Albanese planning to hold a roundtable in August to discuss ways to move the nation's economy forward. Joining us to discuss today's headlines is Deputy Opposition Leader Ted O'Brien and Independent MP Monique Ryan. Good morning to you both. So, Ted, the PM has a big, bold majority, but does he have any big, bold ideas? Are you concerned this might end up just being another talk fest?
Well, his big, bold idea, Sarah, is, wait for it, a round table. Yay.
All do it, honestly, to be fair.
No, not really. Look, to be fair, at least they're recognising the problem. Productivity has gone backwards, the economy has stalled. And so at least they are saying, yes, we have a problem. They don't have any ideas. So we have a round table in August, and at least that's an acknowledgement of the problem. So let's take that as a partial tick.
How are the problems as you see them, Monique? I mean, it's interesting that the first term of government didn't necessarily give this second elected government a sense of what the country needs. I mean, is the best option they can come up with taxing people money they don't have?
Well, look, I think productivity has been an issue for this country for over a decade. We've seen it go backwards by 1% in the last 12 months, but it's been a real problem for a really long time, unfortunately. One of the things the PM does need to do, which he hasn't committed to doing as yet, is to bringing everyone to the table to talk about how we can improve productivity. I feel very strongly that needs to include consideration of tax reform. Well, we have to think about all of the options open to us. One of the things the PM hasn't been open to as yet is talk about real tax reform, which should look at income tax and business tax. They're things that would potentially make a real issue to business productivity. I hope that he'll consider that sort of change. To date, he and Jim Chalmers have been resistant to that idea.
Yeah, I know the independents have been very vocal about that as well. I mean, housing is another issue. Ted, are you concerned, though, that the unions are kind of running the Labor Party here and that business is being blocked out?
I am, Sarah, but, I mean, really, Labor is a subsidiary of the union movement, so it's no big surprise. I think what Monique said there is right, by the way. I mean, the Prime Minister, the government needs to be open. If they truly want to talk about productivity, they have to talk about taxation, they have to talk about industrial relations, they have to talk about energy, they have to talk about deregulation, they have to talk about red tape, they have to talk about small business. They have to be open-minded here, otherwise it's nothing more than a talk fest.
All right, well, the PM is busy. In only a matter of days, he will meet with Trump at the G7 summit. Monique, Albo won't say whether he'll talk to Donald Trump about our correspondent Lauren Tomasi being shot in LA. Should he?
I think the PM should raise the question of press protections with Donald Trump when he meets with him. It's incredibly important that journalists can feel safe to report on issues that matter. The footage that we saw of Lauren Tomasi being shot by the rubber bullet was really concerning, but press protections have been an issue globally in the last 2 or 3 years. We've seen, unfortunately, many journalists injured or killed in Gaza and in other areas of conflict around the world. It's a really, really important issue and something which should be front of mind for the PM, but also for the American president.
Yeah, here, I agree with that completely. Ted, what should be at the top of Albo's agenda here? Tariffs, defence seem the obvious ones.
Yeah, indeed. It is to ensure that Australia gets exemptions from the tariffs that the Trump administration has put on us. They are unfair, they're not in the spirit of the partnership, and they fly in the face of our free trade agreement. So I think
he's unlikely, though, Ted, to come away with a solution to tariffs immediately, as you know. I mean, it took you guys, when you were last in government, following that tariff announcement from Trump, more than a year to gain an exemption.
Well, the UK has just gotten an exemption, and so I believe that we should be going as hard as we can. And the coalition stands with supporting the Prime Minister in trying to do so, by the way, but the expectation is certainly there.
All right. Just moving on quickly, another IVF bungle. Monique, I know you have a history, obviously, in the medical profession as a doctor. I just wanted to get your reaction to this terrible mistake by Monash. How on earth has this happened again?
It's a real problem. I think the issue is that, you know, your weakest link in the system is where issues happen, and I understand that some of the regulation around some of the medical technologists involved in IVF is a bit lacking. you know, that around the doctors and some of the scientists is pretty stringent, but perhaps not at every point in the chain. We can't have these sorts of issues in the fertility industry or in any part of our medical system, and I think that we need an urgent review of the IVF programs around Australia in light of these two really quite significant issues that we've had in recent times.
Yeah, it's such an emotional time for anyone going through IVF. That's the last thing you need. All right, well, just finally, another one from the National Press Club. This one was a bit more interesting. The PM condemning cancel culture. He says no one would run for office if they were accountable for things they said 20 years ago. So this is an open forum, guys. Is there anything you said back in the day that you're so grateful social media wasn't around to document? Who's going to go first?
I was
think, you know, we've all said silly things when we're 20.
Such as, Monique?
Oh, nothing comes immediately to mind.
Ted, what about you?
Look, if Monique's not coming clean, Monique's not coming clean, I will.
Yes.
I concede that I used to like skinny jeans, shoulder pads, all those sort of things. I think that was pretty cool for the fashion.
Ted,
so I take it back. I retract it.
To see this. Yes.
You need to provide evidence. We need photo proof of this. You must send some into the show, please. I want them before the end of the hour. Promise?
Sounds good.
No.
Oh, fine, whatever. Thank you, guys. Carlos, it's not fair. Shoulder pads.